Okay, and why, if I'm sharing my screen, don't I have the green? Yeah, go for it.
When you're doing an MVP, that kind of apply to directory structure too, like you want to set it up like
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. In general, when I'm coding, I like to allow for future expansion as much as possible, even if I'm just doing an MVP. Yeah, but that's a great question. I think it saves time later if you just write it with an eye to what you might want to do in the future. Okay. I'm going to assume that I'm sharing the screen, although I really don't like that there's no green. But here it says stop share, so there you go. Okay. Hello, audience at home. You just watched me try and share the screen 7 times. All right. So let's go back and all right, so we have a routes directory and an index. In our routes, let's touch routes index. Maybe not. Okay. Well, we'll think about that. All right, so what other directories do I need in here?
Views.
What else? What's the difference between DB and data?
DB is where your database connection is, and data is where your schema is.
Yeah, data is where your schema and like your seed data and sort of any like straight SQL stuff goes. Stuff that's meant to be run like once and then never again. Whereas DB is where your coding connections are. Shall we make an actions directory? What do you think? Celeste says yes. Okay. Anything else? All right, anything else?
Yes.
If I do a git status, why don't all of my new folders appear? There's no files in them. Git ignores empty folders. Okay, so oh, that notes is from our debugging lecture. So I'm going to move. Okay, and now, no. Okay, that's what I want to see. Okay, so let's now, okay. Okay, so let's actually go back to a couple things. First of all, let's go to, all right, so in our notes, this is our whiteboard. So we've got a bunch of routes here. We've got views, we've got third-party apps, we've got dependencies. You know what we haven't thought about is actions that we're going to need. So I think we're going to have to think about actions as well. All right. So, and then once we've decided on some actions, then we'll make the actions. And I want to do them using TDD. What does TDD stand for? Test-driven development, and which means I'll write the tests first, and then I'll write the actions. Okay, so let's decide what actions do we want to do. What actions do we need? What else? Create a new user.
Oh no, I said read.
Oh, read a user. Read a user. Tell me more what you mean by that. Get data for a user, or
yeah, get data. So like for a profile page.
Okay. Check user password. Okay. And actually, do we need to? Let's look at the specs. So do we need to do something different if the username exists but the password is bad versus if the username, like for example, if we just check and there's nothing in the database with that username and that password, do we just like say bad login? So that can just be one function. We don't have to check to see if the username exists in the database. Okay. All right, check user password for authentication. All right, what else?
Edit the user.
Update user. Okay. So let's see, we need to serve that page, no database there. Process the login. That would be check the user password for authentication. Process sign up is create a new user. Serve profile page, that's get user data. Edit user profile, that would be update user. Serve existing post in its comment. So let's, okay, so users auth is this, and then for posts, we're going to have to create new post. Now I think we can just do read. Now we can do CRUD, read post, update post, and delete post. Okay, and then for comments, or let's see, cities, we're going to have to get a city. Do we need at any point to get all city information? Like, is there a point where we're going to be listing cities? All right, we're getting, oops, let's look at our wireframes. So
we got the stretch goal of putting like pins on a map.
Okay, got it. How does a user know what city? How does a user get to a city to make a post?
Yeah, it's wireframes. They don't cover everything.
I think at some point we're going to have to list a city, right? Like, so a user should be able to, travel tip. Okay. See posts. Huh, okay. So apparently users don't need to be able to get to these pages. They just need to be able to see the pages. Okay. All right. Fine. For now, we'll. Oh, okay. Okay. I just I just can't, it just seems like a worthless app without that. So, okay. And, okay, so, and then comments. Wait, am I making up comments?
They were a stretch goal.
Oh, cool. Oh, wait, hold on. I think that they got into our schema, right?
Yeah, it was the second or third day.
To do the comments? Okay. Are they a stretch goal?
Yes.
All right. We'll deal with comments later. Okay, so we'll let's see. Create file structure, brainstorm, actions, create, decided to create comment actions later. Okay. Okay. All right. Have we left out any actions that we're going to need? Posts. And yeah, okay, good. So for cities, get city information, including all posts. Same action, different action? I think when we go to the city page, when we go to the city page, we're going to want to get those posts anyway. So. Yes. Okay. Okay. Cool. Anything else we forgot?
It might be a stretch, but I think we also need to, well, because I know they talk about like get a list of the cities the user has posted.
Right. Okay. Cool. All right. So if we're going to do test-driven development, we are going to have to do a lot more setup. The beginning of the project, a lot of setup. So let's just decide that we're going to start with create new user. And let's set ourselves up for testing. This might take the remaining 25 minutes, but then once it's there, we don't have to do it again. So, okay, so let's, okay, and so what do we need in our, okay, so in order to set up the tests, what do we need? Yes. In fact, I don't even know if we've done an npm init here. What happens if you do an npm init and you've already npm init? Okay. Well, whatever. There we go. So, okay. Oh, I guess we could have seen whether we had a package.json, and we didn't. So, and now let's start npm installing. So in order to do our database, we talked a lot about what we wanted to install. So why don't we just install everything? Okay. Okay, so we're going to install Express, PG Promise, Body Parser, NodeMon, Decrypt. Oops. Mocha, Chai, EJS, Express Session. Has anybody worked with any other test framework? Like
Just a little bit.
Jest, what do you think of it?
I like it so far.
Better than the others?
I haven't done complicated stuff, but I've mostly used it with React. So.
Okay.
Body dash first.
Thank you. Wait, no. Ooh, that was cool though. Okay. Better. All right, sorry. So yeah, so so just with React is good, but otherwise.
Yeah, I don't really know how it works with like, like if there's like a Chai HTTP equivalent.
Right.
Like that, yeah.
Okay. Has anybody used tape? I haven't either, but it's supposed to be simpler than Mocha and Chai, and I know that Jeffrey Westcott, for example, really likes it.
TAPE.
Yeah, like tapeworm. You guys will never forget it. Okay. Okay. All right. So we've installed everything. That's great. Now what do we have to do? Write the tests. Okay. So write the tests. Okay. So let's, when we're going to be doing database tests, which means we have to deal with a test database. Now we have a package.json. Let's start to build it out. So scripts. So we're going to Mocha, and then we're just going to Mocha the test directory. How do we get it to do everything, like recursively, everything in the test directory?
There's a recursive flag, right?
Yeah. So a couple of things we could do. We could either Google it, or you know me, I like Mocha like this, just to get an idea of what we can use. So, okay, and then I can use my friend grep just to like get only the line that has recursive. Okay, dash dash recursive, great. Okay, is there anything else that you guys like to use in your Mocha?
Dash dash exit.
What does the dash dash exit do for you?
So it basically says once you're done running the tests, like kill the process.
And why? Oh.
We ran into a lot of problems with it, and it turns out like since a couple of months ago, they actually want you to use that flag when you're using it for like end-to-end stuff.
Okay.
It hangs, yeah, it just hangs.
The PG promise process definitely hangs. The PG promise connection. This keeps the PG promise. This just closes the PG promise connection when you're done with the tests. Is there anything else people like to use with Mocha? Okay. Okay, so cool. So now we've got that. That's good. Now let's start doing some DB stuff. So let's do DB, DB create. And that will be pSQL schema. Let's see, it's in source data. This is in source also. Source data schema .sql.
So does that create the database if you like?
So I am going to go into, yeah, that's a great question. I like to keep, no, I take it back. Okay, so I'm remembering how I like to do these things. Okay, so instead I am going to source env slash well, I know that people like to use .env though. Yeah, so I think I'm going to source env slash all right, I'm actually gonna do some research here because I don't generally use .env because I'm more comfortable with just having environment variables used with environment variables, but I know people here like to use .env. So I want to see what the best way to use this is. So if I do a .env and then I do, like production and test and development, I want to know how to use different .env files. So let's see. Okay. So let's look and see what we have here. I want a different .env versus develop. Should I use .env deployment? You can, or you can put something like this in your config application.rb. Wait, what are we doing? This is Ruby. No. Okay. 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 12 factors point about env-powered configurations. Dang. The mirror Ruby repos. Okay. Do you pass a variable name to node env value and destination.env in the install? Okay, let's see what. Thanks for the questions. Okay, you put .env in the root of your project. If you run your app as this, your .env should be in the same directory. Okay, this is customizable with the path, blah, blah, blah. Should we symlink? I don't care about that right now. Do you pass variable name to replace node env value in the .env at installation step? We set this by hand in the .env like any other variable. Preparing the file is dependent on your deploy process. The sky's the limit for automation. Okay. How do you set a different .env for testing? At what place it occurs? Okay. I see an environment as being a combination of software and hardware you're running on your laptop. If you're running tests on Travis and you want a different database, use VM or Docker. Try to use the same environment is not best practice. Okay. 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 Interesting. I might do some, yeah, so this is actually what this is actually what I was going to do. Let's see. Jesus, what is this? Does anybody know what that is? There's more than one way to do it. Okay.
Not
Okay. Yeah.
I've done this before.
Mm-hmm.
In my .env file, I have a node environment, a node underscore env that equals development, and then on that equals testing. And just like you saw in package.json, when I run my test, I set my node environment to equal testing, and then otherwise,
Okay. Justin, do you have thoughts? How do you use .env if you want to change the node environment versus to be production versus testing? Do you do something like this in your package.json?
Yeah, that would be how I do it, because .env only sets an environment variable if it's not already set. So that would be, to me, the simplest way to do it.
Got it. Okay. So, thank you. Okay. So I am going to, okay, so, fine. Node env equals, and so for the DB create, we probably just want node env equals production. So, and I'll have the node env equals production be default in my .env file. Now, do I have a git ignore? I do, and I do have my .env ignored, so that is very good because I don't want to commit .env because generally it has stuff you don't want other people to see. Do I have a .env? No. Okay, so let's make a .env. And yeah, sometimes code is a little slow to catch up. So by default, node env is going to equal production. Now I'm also going to say DB URL is going to be localhost, or let's see, PC Postgres Rome. Fine. And then I'm going to say test DB URL. Okay, and I will in my code distinguish between the DB URL and the test DB URL depending on what the environment is. And this way I only have to set one node env to be test, and I can just pull everything else from what I have in here. Yeah.
So I've never seen the triple backticks like that.
So it just takes whatever the default is for your database, and the default is localhost. So yeah. So okay. Why did I want to do this? I wanted to do this because I wanted to be able to use, I wanted to be able to use the, I didn't want to have to put the names of my databases in both my production or my Postgres or my package.json and in my files. But the fact is, like again, I know how to do this without .env, and Justin's gone. So all right. So for now, I'm going to. I'll talk to Justin in a minute, but for now, I'm just going to type Rome here, which makes me die a little inside, because then if I updated my .env, it's not updated here. So when I've been working on my own project, I actually don't use .env, but I actually use just shell files that I can source here that will like set all my environment variables at once. I like it, but I know people here like .env, so I want to try and learn how to do it the .env way. Yeah, I mean, I can show you just briefly. If I go to box charter, so oh, right, I don't have the .env here, but notice, or in my env, but notice like, so I have a test one that sets all of my test environment variables. I have a production one that sets all of my production environment variables. And notice, so, and then I can just refer to the database in the, as an environment variable here. Come on, keep up. I can refer to the environment variables, you know, to the database as the environment variables here. And then I can also, in the code, refer to the same environment variable using process.env. So that is how I'm doing it without using .env, which makes me happier because now it's just in one place. And if I have to change it, I change it just in the one place.
Able to use it in the code.
Why? Because when I do a start, I source this, and then I do nodemon, and because I've sourced this, all of those environment variables are available to process.env. So if so if we look at the server and we look in DB and we look in connection, so here I can actually just use process.env.db URL. It's sort of an old school way to do it where I'm actually not faking environment variables with .env, but I'm actually using real live environment variables. There is, well, no, I take it. I think, yeah. You know, this is the way that I'm doing it on my personal project. Yeah. What was your question, James?
Oh, no, yeah, that's what I was just trying to understand. So, like, .env is like, instead of grabbing these variables from your .env file, you're actually grabbing them from your environment.
I'm actually grabbing them from my environment, and I put them in my environment. And again, I don't have my .env stuff committed here because that's not good practice, but I just put them in the environment by sourcing these shell scripts. And what these shell scripts do is they just create environment variables. Yeah, Bree.
How does that work?
Same way as .env would. So when I am talking about, right, so my README, which right now is very lame and does not include anything, my README eventually should talk about creating these files, and I actually probably should have an env folder here that I do commit, and inside the env folder, I should have like a test.template.sh just to show you what you need to put in there, the same way we do .env.template. Yeah. But for now, I'll do the .env way, and maybe I'll talk to Justin and SJ and see if they have a way of keeping the of not having to put the database name twice. Okay. All right. So DB create, DB seed.
You need a create.
Yes, thank you. That'd be fun. Okay, and then we'll do a DB init. And that would be okay. Okay. So let's make a seed.sql just so it doesn't freak out. And all right, cool. Let's try an npm run db init. Nope, column X does not exist. My goodness. Okay. I didn't. Text has to come before not null. All right, column X does not exist. That's fascinating. Oh, I think I copied and pasted. For my check, and I just used that X when you really need to put the actual column title. Okay, so that's good. And then where was that? Right here. So you have to put the type first. Let's try again. Oh. Okay. Okay. 9:59. Just never enough time. But okay. All right. Cool. So we're getting started with our testing environment. And tomorrow maybe we'll actually write a test. Wouldn't that be fun? Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Check-in time.